Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is SASS, and today we will be discussing the Path of Exile 2 update for the version 0.2.0G patch notes that they just dropped yesterday. I'm pretty excited about this one. We've all been talking about how the loot has been a little bit lackluster lately and just really hard to find rare items, stuff like that. Apparently they've made a bunch of different changes and whatnot to the loot drops and everything, so I'm really excited to dive into this. I know they did have a few little issues with the patch rolling out, a bunch of bugs and stuff. They had some skill gems that were missing for some reason. Good to see that GGG quickly rolled that back and have been able to fix that, so everything is live and ready to go now for you to test out. So hey, log in folks, because hopefully it's going to be a really good update. If you haven't yet, make sure you follow us over on Twitch, join the Discord, and if you'd like to support the channel, a subscription over on Twitch is the best way to do that. You can also sign up on Patreon as well. All the links are down in the description below. Without further ado, let's dive on in. Let's see what's changed. All right, here we are. 0.2.0G. Well, this is it, folks. This is the update that we've all been waiting for. Well, at least I know I have. After getting my mercenary all the way through Act 1 through 3 into Cruel and now into the end game, something I really picked up on and noticed is that a lot of rare monsters and unique bosses and stuff just were not dropping good loot. Especially throughout Act 3 Cruel, I noticed that a lot of the drops that were coming in were just absolute dog water, really not good at all. I had a really hard time keeping up with my currency and stuff, so I'm hoping that a lot of the updates that they've added in here are going to help that. So come along with me and let's take a look at what the patch notes are. If you'd like to check them out for yourself, and down in the description you'll find a link to the 0.2.0G patch notes. You can watch and follow along with me. All right, so this patch contains significant changes to item drops and changes to the difficulty of Simulacrum, as well as other changes and bug fixes. Starting off with the item drop changes, we modified the rarity value at which normal items no longer drop. This means that unique bosses will never drop normal items except for a select few early in the game. This is awesome. There's nothing more painful than finally beating a boss after grinding your way through it and you get a basic chest piece. That was so painful. It happened to me a lot through Act 2 and Act 3 Cruel. It just really had some sour taste in my mouth anytime I beat a boss, or even just like one of the unique mini bosses or something like that, and you know, you finish them off and you get just a bunch of blue and white items. So really nice to see that they'll be pretty much scrapping the normal items, which I'm hoping that means that the rares will drop a little more often, since the percentage of loot that is bound to drop from those bosses will no longer include normal items. So nice little change there. We have halved the amount of rare gold drops. This means that if you roll a rare item, you get more rare equipment or rare currency instead of gold. Rare gold piles are now twice as large, so you still get the same amount of gold as before on average. This is a really nice change. Gold was something I never had an issue with. I think I'm sitting on like 30,000 gold right now with my mercenary. So nice to see that they boosted the rare items and rare currency drops, and we're still gonna, you know, pick up on gold. So, you know, nice little cleanup there. Gold, magic currency, quality currency, class, charms, and runes are now much less likely to drop from monsters with high item rarity. These three changes generally result in around 20 to 30% more rare currency, exalted orbs, orbs of alchemy, regal orbs, etc. Nice. Okay, so basically less of the random crap and a lot more of the item rarity. So that's nice. You're gonna get a lot more currency if you aren't getting a rare item, I guess, is kind of the way they're going with it. It's kind of disappointing to see that runes aren't going to pop up as much, because into the later levels, it is nice to get some of those high level ruins. That was something that I was noticing with my mercenary. I'm actually missing a bunch of the high level ruins, and I didn't get as many of the low level ruins as I was going through the campaign acts and stuff, so I wasn't able to combine them into high level ruins. So we'll have to see how that goes, but I'm hoping that that means that at the very least we'll be able to trade in some of our rare currency for those high level ruins. Tier 2 rare items now drop 4 times more often. Tiers 3 to 5 now drop 30% more often. The modifiers of tiered rares have also been improved by cutting out more low-level modifiers, making them better on average than before. Very nice to see. So basically, you're just going to get better rare items, period, which nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing worse than finding a rare item and it's got a bunch of like 5% modifiers on it. So really nice to see them boosting just rare items in general. Tier 2 and higher magic items now drop around 5 times more often. The low level modifier culling of tiered magics has been significantly improved, with Tier 2 now culling 50% of the modifier range and improving from there. Oh, so that means we're just basically going to get the upper range of modifiers with Tier 2 and higher magic items. That's really nice to see. Tier 5 magic items will usually only roll the highest modifier available for a given type. This means that tiered magic items should be a much better starting point for crafting a recombination. That's huge. That is huge. Wow. Awesome. So if you do happen to pick up on one of those tier 5 magic items, you're going to get a really good modifier that you can use to kind of either slap some of those new orbs and stuff onto, or at the very least be able to recombinate into an even better weapon. So really nice to see. All right, next up is the unique monsters. Except for a few unique bosses at the start of Act 1, all unique monsters will always drop a rare item. Huge bonus. That is really nice to see. Bosses are some of my favorite part of Path of Exile 2. I really enjoy fighting bosses. It's like the one thing that Path of Exile 2 does really well. GGG's done a great job with the bosses. They have a lot of really fun mechanics and stuff. So the fact that you're always going to be guaranteed a rare item just makes beating that boss feel a lot better. And with the previous changes above, now we're going to see a lot better rare items dropping from some of these unique monsters. So that's really nice to see. In campaign, you only get the guaranteed rare item the first time you kill each boss. In maps, you will always get it. Okay, so that makes sense. Basically, you just can't rerun the campaign over and over again to get a bunch of rare items. So it's just so that you're not going to be trying to cheese the easy bosses. But for the maps, that's really nice to see that you beat a boss, you're going to guaranteed to get a decent rare item out of it. All right, Asmerian Wisps. The Asmerian Wisps have just been a real disappointment for me. I've really enjoyed fighting the random exiles that pop up. They're pretty cool. You get some decent weapons and items and stuff from them. But Asmerian Wisps, when you kill the rare monster for it, it doesn't really seem to drop much. Like, I don't really see any difference between that and just attacking a random rare monster. So I think I've gotten like 2 unique whatever they're called, the little socketables. I think I've gotten like 2 of those so far, which, kind of disappointing. I was really hoping to be able to have a bunch of those really funky versions of the socketables, and I'm hoping that they add even more of them. Rare monsters possessed by Asmerian Wisp now always drop a rare item. Very nice to see. Just gonna bump things up so it makes it more satisfying to beat those Asmerian rares. Fixed a bug where the first wisp in the Grellwood didn't have its item rarity or quantity stats. Oh, interesting. That makes a lot of sense. It seems like that first one, you just get a bunch of junk. So right on. Very nice change. All right, next up we have rare and magic chests. Magic chests have drastically increased item rarity and quantity, and also guarantee at least a magic item. Okay. They are approximately as rewarding as rare chests were before. Very cool. Rare chests also have drastically increased item rarity and quantity, and guarantee at least a rare item. Very, very nice. Yeah, the colored chests just kind of weird. Like you click on a chest and you're expecting, you know, a blue chest like to pop out an item at least, and all you get is just a little pile of gold, and it's like, oh, okay. Like, I'm so glad I fought through all of those monsters so that I could get to that chest. Like, I'm hoping that this applies as well in the trials of the Sekima. Like, there's a lot of sections in the trials where it's worth it to take the risk on taking some damage and like opening up some of those rare chests and stuff that you see along the way. But I just basically forego them completely because I found that rare chests just didn't really make a difference. It's like, maybe I'll get lucky, maybe I won't, and it might be just garbage. So you just kind of avoid them and save all your honor. Whereas I'm hoping that that applies here, so it'll actually be worth it to take those risks. In cruel difficulty, chests get a further plus 50% more item quantity and item rarity, and 100% more in endgame, making them very powerful there. Very nice to see. Right on. Basically, just it's going to scale now with your level as you keep going along, beating the campaign and getting into endgame. So we changed the map modifiers that increased the chance of finding magic and rare chests to instead add a fixed number of additional magic or rare chests. Very cool. Yeah, percentage modifiers for stuff like that is just, it never seems to work out properly. I've noticed that they've changed a lot of things that used to have, you know, percentage chance of finding is now, you know, more of like a percentage chance of a certain amount showing up. So yeah, much nicer. Really good changes there. Right, next up is the strong boxes. Strong boxes have increased item quantity and item rarity, guarantee a rare item, as well as getting a further plus 50% more item quantity and item rarity in cruel, and 100% more in endgame. So basically the same as what we saw with the basic chests. Strong boxes are now getting a nice little boost there as well. Very nice to see. Researcher strong boxes will now have a much higher chance to drop rare currency instead of magic currency. Thank God for that. And it honestly felt pointless to do strong boxes sometimes because unless it's the, you know, random spin to win one where you got to spend gold on it, like strong boxes just kind of felt really weak. And, you know, to spend a bunch of time killing monsters and stuff like that just to get a bunch of orbs of alchemy was kind of like, okay, well, I don't know when I'm ever going to use these, but hopefully I can get like 600 of them saved up so that I can trade for you know, an Exalt. Like, so really nice to see. We're going to get some more rare currency out of those. Reduce the variance in the number of items strong boxes dropped. They should more consistently drop a good number of items. All right, cool. So you're not going to, you know, finish a strong box and then, you know, get 2 items out of it or something. Looks like they've evened those out. Oh, and speak of the devil, here we are. A trial of the Sekimas. Regular bronze chests now have the same base balance as rare chests do in the normal difficulty campaign, including guaranteeing a rare item. Very cool. Oh, so this is at the end of the trial. Okay. Oh, nice. That's awesome. Silver and gold chests increased item rarity and item quantity by values significantly higher than before. Okay. All right. Arcanist's chests have had the same improvements to drop composition as researchers' strong boxes. Very cool. Right on. Yeah, so that's the rare currency bonus. So Arcanist chests now in the trial will give even more of that rare currency. Really, really nice. The chance of getting silver and gold keys as room rewards instead of bronze keys has been significantly increased. Once again, just making it worth so much more to run the trials. Trials is something that has really, really been slacking. It's probably the one weak area, I think, of the game is the Trial of Sekimas and Trial of Chaos are kind of, not only is it overpowered and like kind of difficult to run the trials, but the rewards just really weren't there. So it's nice to see that they've bumped that up. All right, next up is the Trial of Chaos. As you continue to increase the level you play the Trial of Chaos, corrupted rares are phased out from the rewards and rare currency stacks are phased in. Very cool. Yeah, corrupted rares just really don't feel good to win. Like, unless you get something that's amazing and has a bunch of socket slots on it, it's kind of pointless to get a corrupted rare because you can't do anything with it. It's just a scrap item that you break down. So it's like, if I'm going to break it down into like a shard, it's kind of pointless to even carry it with me. I'm better off just leaving it behind and collecting currency as I go. So nice to see that we're going to get a lot more rare currency out of that instead. Items that drop from monsters in the trial no longer have a chance to be corrupted. Okay. Oh, they no longer have a chance. Oh. All right. Apparently everyone else had the same opinion as me. Collecting corrupted items is kind of pointless. Like, you can't use them for anything. So perfect. Right on. Thank you, GGG. But they basically just made trials a lot more fun to play. Like, really nice. All right, next up is Expedition. I haven't gotten into the Expedition yet. I just broke into the end game, but I have heard from a number of other creators and stuff that the Expedition just needed a nice little boost. A lot of the content in the end game just needed to be a lot more worth it to run the game. So Expedition magic and rare chests now have the same base balance as other end game magic and rare chests. Okay. I'm just boosting chests all around. Nice to see. Normal Expedition chests have also been improved, so I'm assuming we're going to get the same kind of boosts as we've seen with just like the regular bonus chests. We also fixed a bug where increased chest item rarity from Expedition remnants was not multiplying correctly with the chest item rarity the chest already had. These remnants will now have a greater effect. Very nice. Obviously that was an unintended bug, so hopefully that will work a lot better. They buffed the rewards from most Expedition remnant mods. Okay, so not only are the remnants going to actually work properly now, but they've also given them a nice little buff. So obviously when they fixed that, they realized that, hey, it's just not giving enough yet. So very nice. Good job, GGG. They doubled the number of Expedition artifacts that drop. Okay, cool. Doubled is like, wow. I was expecting, you know, like a percentage boost, but nice to see. Increase the amount of exotic coinage that drops by 50%. Okay, more coin. Expedition remnant upside modifiers have generally been buffed. Oh, cool. Just basically tons of buffs that they've done. You know, 50%, double, 100%, like just increasing things all around. Several Expedition remnant downsides have been adjusted. They're not specific about that. I'm assuming that they've reduced the impact of downsides. I'm hoping that that's what that means and not that they've increased them in some way. The Expedition remnant modifier that causes monsters to have a 100% chance to avoid being chilled, frozen, ignited, and shocked has been replaced with a new modifier that increases their elemental ailment threshold. Nice. That's really cool. So before it was basically canceling out your elemental abilities, whereas now it's just going to increase threshold. So there's a good chance that you're still going to be able to, you know, freeze, ignite, all that fun stuff. So really cool. 2 new Expedition remnant upside modifiers have been added. These can be found in map areas. Really nice. Just expanding Expedition even more. I hope that they keep working on some of these end game mechanics. End game so far, I think I've done like 6 or 7 maps so far, and I've really been enjoying it. Obviously the loot's not there, and you know, it feels kind of a bit of a slog to get through, but I like where they're moving with it. Like the idea of maps definitely feels really good. All right, next up we have Delirium. Increase the amount of item rarity per depth in Delirium encounters. It increases to approximately 2.5 times what it was before. Wow, that's a huge buff. Really nice. The delirious percentage scaling with waves in Simulacrum has been reduced. Each wave now adds 5% delirious, previously 10%, up to a maximum of 75% at difficulty 0, previously 100%, and 115% difficulty 4, previously 140%. Okay, cool. Many Simulacrum modifiers have had the benefits they provide to delirium monsters reduced. Okay. It looks like they've nerfed a lot of the downsides for delirium and just increased a lot of the upsides, which is great to see. It just kind of makes everything feel so much better if, you know, you're not kind of constantly being, you know, slammed to the ground and kicked while you're down. Like, so really, really good change there. I like it. All right, accessibility to pinnacle content and Atlas passives. Reduced the number of corrupted nexus you need to complete your Atlas passive tree. Each corrupted nexus now grants 5 skill points, allowing you to complete this task much faster. Nice. Oh, that is awesome. That was something that I was kind of dreading doing, having to go through all the corrupted nexuses, you know, to get my Atlas passive tree kind of filled out. So now that we're getting 5 skill points per nexus, like that's huge. Right on. Increased visibility of corrupted nexus so you can see them from further away. All right, which makes it a lot easier to like pick a direction and go. You're not gonna do too much. Hopefully you won't be doing too much more, just kind of wandering around. Atlas passive skill points have been retroactively granted. There are a few scenarios where you will have fewer Atlas passive skill points after the patch. In this case, your Atlas skills have been reset. I see. Because of the changes that they made, basically you're just getting a respec for your Atlas skills, which is nice. Nothing wrong with that. There's always a good chance that, you know, you might want to do something different with it. So Breeze Splinter drop rates have been increased by 50%. Very nice. Delirium Splinter drop rates have been increased by 80%. Very nice. The chance of finding audiences with the king in ritual is increased by 50%. So they pretty much decided that people weren't getting into the end game content fast enough, which I kind of agree with. Even just the couple of maps that I did, like the 6 or 7 that I ended up doing, I'm very close to doing my first Nexus. But even that process of going through those few, I think it took me like 4 hours or so just to get through the 7 maps and then, you know, get prepared for my Nexus. So definitely this is going to make Breach, Delirium, and it's going to make all of the end game content just that much easier to get to, which is nice. That's what we want. We want players to be able to get through the campaign and to get into some of this end game content and actually experience it. Like, obviously I don't have a lot to give you guys on my opinion on like whether I like Breach or Delirium, because I haven't been able to get there yet, but hopefully this will mean that I'll actually have an opinion for you the next time they update it. So alrighty, and finally we have some player changes. Let's take a look here at what they've decided to change. Trinity now provides 3 to 6% more elemental damage with attacks per 30 resonance at gem levels 14 to 20, previously 7 to 10% per 50 resonance. I think that's a buff. That sounds like a buff. 6% per 30, 10% per 50. So we're losing 4%, but you're getting it more often at per 30 resonance. 3/5 over 610. Oh, okay. I see what they did there. So it's kind of a buff. Kind of a buff. You're gonna get elemental damage quicker from your resonance, because obviously you only need 30 resonance to get that first bonus for elemental damage rather than having to get to 50. They've reduced the percentage bonus that you get from it. So you'll be able to get there quicker without having to, without getting that big buff. But it's technically it's a buff. It kind of sounds like a nerf, but it's not. On dealing elemental damage with an attack hit, it now gains 10 to 13 resonance of the highest elemental damage type and loses 3 resonance of the other types at gem levels 14 to 20. Previously gained 7 to 10 and lost 2. Okay, so you gain resonance faster, but you lose resonance on other types, elemental types. Okay, right. Nice little buff to Trinity. Right on. You now lose 10 resonance per second of specific types if you haven't gained resonance of that type in the past 8 seconds. Previously 5 resonance per second. Okay. So you can build up resonance faster on your specific elemental type, but you're going to lose it quicker on the ones that you're not actually using. Which, you know, not a big deal. Nothing wrong with that. Quality now provides 0 to 15% increased attack speed, while total resonance is over 250, instead of 0 to 2% more elemental damage with attacks per 50 resonance of any type. This results in the same damage on average with the easier buildup. Right. So you're just basically, you're going to hit your resonance caps a lot quicker, which is going to give you elemental damage quicker. That they're basically just speeding up Trinity so that it activates faster than it did before, which is nice to see. Heck yeah. Bira's Anguish Dowsing Charm now no longer guarantees a critical hit if any amount of chance to be critically hit is present on the enemy. It will now roll critical hit chance normally in these cases. Oh, so it's no longer a guarantee. Okay. Kind of sort of a nerf for Bira's Anguish. But it makes a lot of sense because there are a ton of skills and stuff, and especially passive skills that work with critical hit. So the fact that it actually guaranteed a critical hit was probably breaking certain builds and just providing way too much of a bonus. Yeah, a little bit of a nerf, but you know, probably a good one that most likely was needed. Most skills that have no mana cost, which you don't cast yourself, are now also granted a hidden no skill cost stat, preventing them from gaining additional costs, such as from Lich's Eldritch Empowerment notable passive skill. Examples include Elemental Discharge, Impending Dooms, Doom Blast, and Blink. Spells you cast yourself granted from wands and staves will still be able to get additional costs. Oh, okay. So a bit of a buff to some of those, especially Blink. Bursting Plague now adds 100% of damage per second from poison as plague, previously 200%. It now stores up to a maximum of 20% of the enemy's maximum life as plague, previously 10%. Okay. So it's adding less damage per second. However, you have an increased percentage storage. So just basically higher uptake. Cool. Bursting Plague. Nice little buff there. Starkonja's head unique helmet now causes damage from hits to be taken from your damageable companion's life for you. Previously also non-damageable companions. Interesting. I think that's a nerf. Sounds like a nerf. Lightning Bolt's base radius is now 0.8 meters. Previously 0.5 meters. Wow. They buffed Lightning Bolt? That's awesome. Right on. Maybe people will stop using Lightning Spear. Right on. Good stuff. Good stuff. Impale inflicted on players now lasts 4 seconds. Previously, it never expired. Impale inflicted on non-players is not affected by this change. Really cool. Awesome. That's actually a huge buff. So it will at least wear off eventually. The flash grenade can no longer blind the user or their allies. Yes, this is huge. I love the flash grenade. The flash grenade is one of my favorite things to use with my mercenary outside of my cluster grenade. Cluster grenade is really good as well. But right now on my mercenary, I'm running armor piercing rounds with like armor break and stuff, and the Herald of Ash, as well as scavenged plates. So I use armor break a lot, but then for my grenades, I've been using the oil grenade and the cluster grenade to create burning ground all around. So that, you know, as monsters are coming towards me, they start burning. And then that flash grenade is really, really nice for hitting stuns. However, you got to be super careful about where you use it because you could constantly stun yourself, which is kind of a pain as a ranged fighter, because that means that like for the next however long that normally you'd be able to take advantage of that stun, your accuracy rating just drops drastically. So the fact that you can't blind yourself anymore is really nice, although I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think game balance me is kind of saying this is a bad idea because you should have to be careful about how you use your flash grenades, just realism wise, right? But at the same time, it's like any skill that you're using that can affect you as well is kind of a pain in the ass. And, you know, I'm always a rule of fun person, so, you know, this makes it more fun. Batter shouts. Triggered explosion now counts as a war cry skill. Okay, cool. You can get bonuses from some of those war cry passives. Really nice. Hazards created by rearming will no longer count towards the maximum allowance of that hazard type. Oh, nice. Right. Other changes and improvements. Existing crystalline cores that are no longer obtainable have been deleted. Scepters, wands, and staves can now correctly roll an additional rune socket as a corruption outcome. Oh, apparently that was not an option before. I haven't played with scepters and wands stuff for a while, not since I was playing my sorceress back in 0.1, so I wasn't too sure how all of that's working yet, but maybe I'll have to do a sorceress run pretty soon here. The number of monsters in Trial of Chaos areas below level 65 has been reduced. Nice. Basically making Trial of Chaos a little bit easier for people to run. Blade Lash Transcendence melee damage has been reduced and their attack distance has been adjusted. Okay. The Leap Slam skill used by vile imps and unearthed urchins can now be dodged, blocked, and evaded. Hey, here we go. That's awesome. That's actually a really nice buff. Leap Slam is something that just like is really freaking annoying. So there's a lot of monsters that use it. So hopefully they continue to play around with that. I know the Quadrillas are one of them that just drives me absolutely batty sometimes. Earnwalker's Scarab Cloud skill now deals damage less frequently. Faradun Plaguebringer's Detonate Dead skill has had its damage slightly lowered and the visual effects improved. Awesome. Nothing wrong with that. The Plaguebringer he was kind of OP and it was really hard to tell when he was like gonna blow up a body next to you. So really cool. I like when they balance out monsters, honestly. Like I think they could still keep doing more. Obviously the focus on this update was loot, so hopefully more monster balance as we go along. And they improved the visual effects of the stalking pustule monsters. Okay, cool. And temporarily disabled the Val Enforcer monster. Nice. I hate the Val Enforcer. He's so annoying. You could just make him, the temporary doesn't need to be there. Just get rid of him. I'm joking, of course, but he's just quite irritating. So hopefully that means that they are, taking him back in the kitchen and they're going to cook up something good. So improved the visibility of connections between maps on the atlas, especially in the desert biome. Very nice. Cleaning up that map is really nice. That is something that I noticed was, which connections go where was kind of hard to see on the atlas map. So good little bonus. Added minimap icons for the landmark rooms found in the Titan Grotto, Dashar, and Maudun Quarry. Cool. I like that. Makes it easier to get around. And they are some pretty big maps. So having those little minimap icons is really nice to see. Added a world map icon for the Titan's Fall in the Titan Grotto. Very cool. And added checkpoints to the Twisted Domain. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that one didn't have any checkpoints, did it? Which is like really strange because, like obviously there's not like a ton of stuff there, but it was strange that it was one of the only sections that just didn't have any checkpoints at all. Like, all right, bug fixes. Very, very nice. They've been working hard at getting all these bugs cleaned up. Let's take a look at what they have been fixing. They fixed a bug where invocations could trigger caltrops from Trail of Caltrops. They fixed a bug where the Silent Cave map would sometimes be uncompletable. Oof. Oh, that's a good bug. Good bug fix. Fixed a bug where the atlas could sometimes display the incorrect atlas state. Okay. Fixed a bug preventing fracturing mirrors from spawning in delirium. Ooh. Well, I got for that, especially with all the bonuses to loot stuff that we're going to be getting. Fixed a bug where a checkpoint in the fortress map could sometimes place you in unwalkable terrain. Fixed a bug which caused some terrain in the decay map to sometimes be inaccessible. Fixed a bug where overwhelming presence was not being affected by modifiers to aura effect. Okay, cool. Overwhelming presence now reduces enemy stun threshold and elemental ailment threshold up to a maximum of 90%. Nice. Wicked. I've been checking out overwhelming presence. Obviously, you know, playing as a ranged fighter, it's not super useful, but when you do get swarmed, it is nice to have those extra bonuses. So nice to see that it's been fixed. Fixed a bug where manifested weapons died when taking damage for you. Oh, that's really strange. Very nice bug fix. Fixed a bug where supporting fire's command, death from above, would fail when used on uneven terrain, becoming unusable. Fixed a bug where the Wastegate unique belt allowed charms to be equipped in flask equipment slots. Wait, what? Yeah, that's wild. So you can carry like 5 charms with a 3 slot. That's really funny. Nice, good little fix. Fixed a bug where ritual sacrifice would not grant you modifiers from the sacrificed rare monsters if you used it while affected by temporal chains. Ooh, ouch. Nice, good fix. Fixed a visual bug where crafting on a fractured item with an omen of whittling, an omen of sinistral erasure, or an omen of dextral erasure would highlight the wrong modifiers. Ooh, ouch. Okay, nice fix. Especially like fracturing is very expensive since they're kind of hard to find, fractured orbs. Fixed a bug where some persistent skills could have an incorrect spirit cost when affected by supports that should increase the cost. Oh, I wonder if that's why some of my spirit cost is like out to lunch sometimes. I fixed some instances where persistent minions were not being removed correctly when weapon swapping. There. Fixed a bug where tamed beasts could be active in a weapon set that did not have the appropriate attribute or spirit requirements met. Okay. Fixed a bug where the Lord of the Pit in the deserted map was not being affected by modifiers to map boss difficulty, but were unable to drop a Vanquisher's Book of Knowledge. Ooh, that's a really good bug fix. Fixed a bug where Plague Bearer's Nova was not considered to be area damage. Ooh, it's really good because most Novas are AoEs, so yeah, really good. Fixed a bug where Rattle Cage, the Earthbreaker in the Crimson Shores map, would sometimes drop no items when slain. And this is something that I actually had happen. This is the first boss that I battled, and yeah, didn't get nothing from him. Fixed a bug that prevented Zycodal, Warden of the Core, from using their wall laser skill. I don't remember. Oh, was that in Cruel? I think that was in Cruel. I don't think he ever used that. Now that I think about it, the fight was quite easy compared to like the first time around. Interesting. Fixed a bug where strong boxes with the of singularity modifier would sometimes fail to drop a unique item. Ooh. And uniques are so hard to come by, so nice little fix there. Fixed a bug where certain monsters could re-emerge after being revived during a ritual encounter. Fixed a bug where the Bread Boss Arena perimeter blockers were not being removed correctly in the Steaming Springs, Burial Bog, and Rust Bowl maps. Ooh, okay. You basically just get stuck in the boss arena. Nice fix. They fixed a bug where the compare feature on the passive skill tree was not functioning correctly. They fixed two client crashes that were affecting some characters on consoles, and fixed 3 instant crashes. So hopefully that is going to clean up a lot of the crashing and some of the issues and stuff that people have been seeing. I know that on console there's been a lot of issues with crashing and lag and stuff, so hopefully they will continue working on that. Great to see lots of good little bug fixes. All right, so not a bad update all around. Definitely some really good loot changes. I'm hoping that a lot of these changes mean that as I continue through maps and stuff with my mercenary, I'm actually planning on going back and jumping on with my huntress as well to test some of the campaign and see how that's going. I think I'm like Act 2. I'm pretty sure I'm just starting Act 2 with my huntress, so I'll be able to kind of get a feel for how campaign feels now with a lot of the drops and stuff. So hopefully that feels a lot better, and we start getting some decent currency and some decent rare items and stuff, especially rare currency. I think I made it through with my mercenary. I got all the way to maps and I had like maybe 12 exalts altogether, which is really not great when you're constantly having to switch armor and find new pieces and stuff. So nice to see that we are going to start getting a lot more rare currency, just a lot more currency in general, which is really nice, as well as, you know, better rare items and stuff too. But a ton of really good updates. I'm very positive about where GGG is taking the game. I think that they're still moving in the right direction. They're trying to make things more fun, especially with the end game content, trying to make that more worth it for you to actually play that content. So yeah, definitely high hopes for the game as we move along here. 0.2 was a little bit rocky in the start, but they're starting to smooth things off. And I think that if we just stay patient, keep on testing things, make sure you guys keep giving in your feedback, constructive feedback, of course. You know, just shitting on GGG and telling them that the game sucks is not going to help anybody. It doesn't get us anywhere. So make sure that you're being specific with your bug fixes or your bug reports and your criticism and stuff like that. Let them know, hey, this feels good, this feels bad. You know, this would be more fun if we did this. You know, throw some ideas out there, because you never know when they're going to pick up on something. And not only that, they've been really good about responding to a lot of the community feedback. Like, one of the big things that everybody was talking about was how the loot just did not feel good. It didn't feel good to kill things and get a bunch of basic items from it. And they basically done away with that. So as you get into the end game, you're going to find a lot more rare items. Hopefully that means a lot more unique items, but most of all, we're going to see a lot more rare currency. All right, well, I think that's about it for today. Thank you all for watching and for hanging out. Big thank you to everybody who watched the last video. It is now the most watched video on my channel. Path of Exile 2 has been blown up big time for my channel, so I thank you all for watching and for liking and for subscribing, of course. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It really helps. We're getting closer and closer to 500 subs, which is my goal for this year. So if you guys could get me there, I would absolutely appreciate it. If you want to support the channel, as I said in the beginning, there's a bunch of different ways you can do that. Sign up over on Twitch. You can subscribe there. Also, we've got Patreon, all that fun stuff. Join us over on the Discord. We talk about Path of Exile 2 quite often. If you want to join in on the conversation and ask some questions, let me know. I think that's it for today. My name has been SASS. This has been another Path of Exile 2 update. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you all next time. Happy hunting, survivors.